Welcome to Finance Dojo. We aim to be the best personal finance educational channel you'll ever need. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell right now so you won't miss out. I'm going to summarize 10 years worth of investing experience in a 10-minute video. After this, you'll be able to automate your investment and become a millionaire. We can now take advantage of technology, our knowledge in stock market, and the 80-20 rule strategy to earn money. You don't need years of trading experience or thousands of dollars in stock trading to succeed. Knowledge, courage, and discipline are all you need. First, ask yourself, how much money do you really need? How much are $1 million? The value of $1 million now will be significantly less in 20 years. To be considered genuinely wealthy, you probably don't need more than $1 million, but there's a formula that you need to know. Here's how to multiply your yearly spending by 25. Your yearly spending should cover all of your living expenses, including your mortgage, rent, food, transportation, and recreation. Add it all up and then multiply the total by 25. In this scenario, if it costs you $30,000 a year to be you, multiplied by 25 equals $750,000. Invested at 4% is the amount of money you need to be called wealthy. Once you've gotten your hands on that sum of money, it will pay you that $30,000 in a passive manner for the rest of your life, allowing you to live well without ever having to work. If you do it correctly and don't spend more money every year, you'll be able to do it indefinitely without ever running out of money, since it will grow faster than you can spend it. That's how you'll know when it's time to stop. You might be thinking, that's a lot of money and there's no way that you're ever going to save $750,000 because that will take you 50 years. That isn't the case. And here's why. Compound interest. In a typical economy, the stock market averages 7% each year after inflation. The point is, you're not going to save all $750,000 on your own, since that's a lot of money. Instead, we'll rely on compound interest to bail us out over time. We will use something what we call the rule of 72, and it's quite important in determining how quickly your money will double. Let's project a return of 7%. So 72 divided by 7 equals 10. That's how long it'll take the stock market to double your money in 10 years. The stock market returned 28.6% last year, which is a significant amount because 72 divided by 28.6 equals 2.5. It would take around 2.5 years for the stock market to double your money at that rate. Here's another tip to help you get there even faster. Divide the annual cost by 0.04 to get the monthly cost. For example, an Amazon Prime, it's $120 every year. $10 per month may not seem like much, but 120 divided by 0.04 is $3,000. That is the actual cost of passively having Amazon Prime in your life. You'll need $3,000 to invest in the stock market at a rate of 4% each year. Now, isn't it amazing how that shifts your perspective? When most people consider buying items like this, they do not consider their financial situation. They consider the expense in terms of an hourly rate. So they'll think to themselves, well, if I'm paid $30 an hour, it'll take me 4 hours to pay for the whole year. But that isn't the case. Just use this trick of dividing by 0.04 to figure out the real cost. Now, when is the best time to invest and how frequently you should do so? What I'll tell you has been done many times before. And this compares 3 separate examples of people trying to time the market in different ways during the previous 40 years. So if these 3 persons contribute $200 every month for 40 years, they will have invested $96,000. One of these folks always invests at the peak of the market just before a fall, like in 1987, immediately before the crash. 1990, immediately before the crash. 2000, just before the dot-com boom. a fourth time in 2007, immediately before the financial crisis, and again in March 2020, immediately before the Rona disaster. Even though she bought at the top of the market for 40 years, she still ended up with $773,358, which is more money than she started with. Then there's Brittany, the second person who always buys at the bottom of the market. She's a natural market forecaster. She keeps majority of her money in cash until the market crashes, at which point she buys the dip. She essentially meets Kevin and ends up with a big sum of money worth $1,123,573 after 40 years. Then there's steady Sarah, who buys at $200 a month no matter what the market does or what Jerome Powell says, and she ends up with more money than anybody else. She receives $1,620,708 as a result of her efforts. How is it even possible if Brittany always hit the market bottom on the dot? It's possible because Sarah didn't sit on the sidelines with cash, and she stayed the longest in the market and made the greatest money. That only goes to show that even if you can correctly anticipate the stock market bottom, there's no assurance that you'll make more money. Now let's talk about how much money you should put into your investment. There is no set amount of money to invest, but you should strive to put aside 50% of your yearly income. Place half of it in savings and keep the other half to live on. It's easier said than done, but it can be done. The percentage is 65%. So if you are paid $1,000 a week, you must set aside $650 and live on the remainder. That is extremely tough to do on a salary of at least $50,000 a year, which is why it is better to focus on growing your income. But the formula remains the same. The next step is important because we need to set up the proper accounts before we can begin investing. The first step is to open an individual retirement account. The second option is to acquire a 401k plan via your workplace. Set it up and you'll be ready to go. For additional credit, establish a health savings account or HSA. It's a threefold tax benefit. We can finally start buying once you've set up all of those accounts and they're ready to go. We must first sort out our priorities. VTI allows you to hold over 4,000 companies while being incredibly diversified. You might invest in a stock like VOO, which is a component of the S&P 500. According to 2019 research by S&P Dow Jones, 89% of big cap funds underperformed their respective passive benchmarks over the previous 10 years. Remember that the industry only wants to make it appear like investing is difficult because they are compensated based on how much they charge their consumers for those fees, not on how well their assets perform. So don't fall into that trap. Instead, focus on maxing out your 401k plan employer match. Then go start making a Roth IRA and max it out to the $6,000 limit. Then go back to the 401k plan and max it out. Then if you have money left over after that, get yourself an HSA and max it out. And if you still have money left over after that outside of your taxable brokerage accounts, you can maybe buy some Bitcoin or dabble in real estate. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. Do your research and speak to a financial advisor. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.